There we go.
Yeah, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Antoine?
Pretty good. It's Friday.
It is, well, I don't know it's Friday. It's been kind of a little bit crazy lately. I don't know what day it is, what kind of time it is. We've just
I
been a
know
little bit.
it's like Friday, Friday after Friday after every day kind of feels like Friday, and then you realize that it's this one big day.
I woke up over the weekend and I looked at my wife, and this was around like 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, I have to go to work. And then she just stared back at me. She's like, no, you don't. It's Saturday. I'm losing complete track of time. I mean, we have meetings every day, but it's still just like, I really have no concept anymore.
Yeah, we'll get in more into that. But I guess what's it like for you? 'Cause I know like you're in the office all the time, and I know that you all do have meetings all the time. So what's it like
Well, that
not
hasn't.
being in the office but still
Well,
having those meetings?
the meetings haven't changed. The dress attire maybe a little bit, or we're all in shorts and t-shirts, but it's still good. We've really harnessed our tools and the technology that we have. We use Microsoft Teams, so we can have our meetings where we chat with each other, stay connected, both not only to our like internal marketing team, but to the company as a whole. We're on the phone with our reps every day, just talking to them, just chatting with them. And it's been really, in a way, nice because they really connect with these guys and stay close in these, challenging times that we're in right now.
Definitely. Also, like when I was putting together this deep cuts thing, I know you and I have talked about podcasting forever. It seemed like last year, and I just never got around to it. And
Right.
of course, now it's like with everybody else, I was like, well, what better time to like dip your toe into it and just get to it. So
It's fun. It's been really interesting to see, and in a good way, the innovation that this time is. You got people have a little bit more time. They're getting creative. They're all the things are very different. Everyone is approaching this a very different way, but I appreciate the creativity, and it's in the industry that didn't always lean towards technology at times. Well, they're embracing it now.
yeah, I mean, I've gotten several press releases today about the shift to digital. So I was like, it took the coronavirus to force these to make a lot of companies kind of finally push that button, because I know a lot of companies have tried to and they've been talking about it, but now it seems like the time to actually do it.
Well, yeah, and like a lot of companies, they've been forced into this situation. I mean, unlike True Estate, we've been the forefront of this. We continue to always lead and want to innovate in technology. We've always invested in technology because you never stop learning, you never stop innovating and talking to your audience where they are. Yes, they're in cigar shops, yes, they're at events, but when you take that away, where are they living? Where are they talking to? And that's something that, even now we're still bringing out new things. We're bringing out new ways to talk to them, just beyond what the normal run-of-the-mill kind of situation.
Definitely. So I wanted to touch a little bit on that, but probably after we kind of get the get to know you part, because I know I've known you for a while, but every time I see you, it's at a trade show.
the usual
event.
craziness, the craziness,
Right.
and we got like an hour, and then like that's about it, and then next on to the next one.
Right, exactly. So I'm loving these little deep cut sessions because I'm getting a chance to speak to a lot of VIP people in my book, up front for a nice hour or a little bit under an hour, and really get to know them and share their story. And then people who tune in, of course, get to know a little bit more about you. So what I wanted to do to start off with is just have you tell, because I don't know your full story, really. I thought about this morning. I was like, I don't know. Because, I mean, we haven't even done that story yet for tobacco business. Like, I don't know your story, your background. So I just I was curious to hear that.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I have like a lot of people in the cigar industry. I think a lot of us have we come to it from a very different background. I mean, yes, there are a lot of the families and things like that have been born tobacco people. But then there's an odd collection of people that you're like, how are you here? So for me, I mean, I'm an electrical engineer by trade. By degree, I have a degree in electrical engineering, and I worked in healthcare software design for about 7 years. But around 2013 or so, I got really into cigars as a hobby, like a lot of people. Started with a sampler that I ordered off Cigars International, came with my humidor, the lighter, and I proceeded to smoke a Toro in about 30 minutes, and then let's just say I got a little green, and I won't go into much more detail, but I really got into the cigars. I got really passionate about it. I was talking to a lot of people through, at the time, which was a really buzzing community, was Reddit R Cigars. And, you know, there was a lot of young 20-something, you know, late 20-somethings, early 30s that were all talking and learning about cigars. And that actually led me to going to one of my first cigar events and, you know, meeting up with local guys in the community. So we started having herfs once a month. We would try to get together. We became friends, you know, trading each other cigars, bombing cigars. And then from there, I was like, I really enjoy this. So what can I do next to get involved? And that led me to Cigars for Warriors. So I actually started in the cigar industry as an event coordinator for Cigars for Warriors, going to local shops, helping them with their donations and working events to try and encourage more donations, because the real important thing about Cigars for Warriors, I mean, it's their mission is to, if you guys don't know, is to send cigars, magazines, and get them to the fighting men and women deployed all around the world, and to give them that little piece of home. And that's a cause that I really believe in, and through a state as well. So I got involved. I was helping out with event coordinators, and then that led me to, you know, just taking a couple of side gigs at shops because I enjoyed talking tobacco so much. So I worked at B&B Cigars in Philadelphia, and then later on at Cigar Mojo in King of Prussia. And that gave me a really good side of retail side of the industry to understand that experience of things. And how I learned under really two strong businessmen. So Vince, Trey, I know if you guys are watching, I learned tremendous amount of how to run a business under you guys. And that was one of those, you know, really kind of eye-opening moments for me.
It was Cigars for Warriors that kind of gave you your kind of into the industry.
Yeah, and so they brought me. You know, I got to my first trade show through Cigars for Warriors. I also went as a buyer for one of the stores, but I volunteered. I worked the Cigars for Warriors booth, and that when the first your first IPCPR, your first cigar trade show, it's like a Super Bowl. It's a big moment because you're just like, whoa, this is a lot here, and to take it all in. And again, I felt the same way at TPE this year, but it's one of these moments. They always impress you. They always. You're excited about it, seeing the new cigars, meeting all the people that you haven't met before, you know, meeting Jonathan for the first time. It was actually an interesting moment because he crashed a motor scooter into the cart and into a table I was sitting at and nearly killed me.
I think everybody has what was your first JD encounter? I know mine was IPCPR 2015. Mm-hmm. It was New Orleans. We had just started Cigars and Leisure. My first trade show, because I was used to being just a background player. So
right.
The salespeople would go to IPCPR every year, and I would just sit there and see the pictures afterwards and go, oh, that looks cool. So to actually be there was a different experience, and we tried to do. We were very ambitious that first year. I remember it was like, oh, let's do interviews. Let's interview like top people, and I was like, okay, never done it before. We had didn't have the right crew really, we didn't have the right equipment. The video camera was broken. It wouldn't work right. I remember the first, and Ben was setting up interviews with everybody. He was like, "Oh, you're gonna, we got, Jonathan Drew for Drew Estate," and I was like, "Okay." And him and Sam come in a little golf cart, pulls up to our booth. He pops out, and it's just like, and we were just sitting there, and that was my first like in-person interview because usually I was just like sending people emails. They would answer the questions. I would take it back and write it from that, but. On the spot. And I remember Jonathan had his cigars in tote. He was just sitting there, and I would ask him a question. He would counter each question. He'd be like, no, I'm not going to answer that question. I'm going to answer this question. And it was just a big challenge, but it was great. It was a great experience, and we always, whenever he sees me at TPE, he usually brings that our first encounter. He's like, wow, you came a long way since that first. I was like, yeah, because it was like,
oh, we all have that, and then you realize just the sheer enormity of it. Like when you're trying to have a schedule, and you're just trying to I got to get all the way across the hall in 5 minutes, and then bouncing back and forth. It's crazy, and the energy there, it's just a good feel, and it's one of those things that really endears you to the cigar industry is the people, both the retailers, the consumers, and the manufacturers. We're all, I mean, a lot of us, we're all friends, and it's just a good moment too.
So, so when you first came to Drew State, what were you tasked with? I'm always curious to see what they told you, and then how that evolved into what it is now. Because I think for everybody in the cigar industry, you always take on multiple roles and hats, and
Right.
after that first day, they go, "Okay, that was a nice idea, but this is like what you're actually going to do."
Yeah. So that it was funny because that's one of those things that just rapidly changed, like on the fly. I started out, when Sam brought me on board, and this was in April of 2017. So actually, I just realized I'm coming up on my 3-year anniversary
Wow.
in like a couple weeks. So Sam's like, "Hey, can you start in 2 weeks?" And I was living in Pennsylvania at the time, and I'm like, "Can I get an extra week to move everything down here? I got a lot going on." So I started out. My job was mostly going to be running the social media, talking to our end consumers, the community management, really kind of understanding and getting to know our people, because that's always been a core strength of Drew Estate, is that we identify, we talk with, we know our customers. We are our customers. I mean, God knows everyone in the marketing department smokes 3 or 4 cigars a day at a minimum. Joey, much more so. But, we are our end consumer. So being able to talk with them on their level, that's kind of where I was brought in to do. And then, things rapidly change and you get tasked with new things. Like, I didn't think I'd be doing this, but I think the first week on my job, they said, "All right, we need a press release for," I think it was Swamp Thing with shipping. The, Kentucky Fire Kid Swamp Thing with shipping. It's like, "We need a press release in like 3 days." What? I'm like, "Wait, is that to me now?" And they're like, "Yes, that's part of your thing." I'm like, "Okay, I'll write it up." So I sent it to Sam, and then he's like, "No, let's just stop. Talk to Joey, who's our head of global creative. Talk to him, learn a little bit more, and then rewrite it and do it." And that rapidly became one of the first things that I do, and I still do to this day, is I write every press release, and then, me and Jonathan work on some of his verbiage and language and change things around. But that's, was one of the first things I was like, "Oh, I didn't know I'd be doing this." And it's a cool thing to actually being there to launch products.
Right. And I always look at the press releases, because you can tell, JD's input, because his quotes always have very like JD-isms in them. Like they'll always end, like you can hear it. You can just hear it. It's no like corporate. It's JD.
I cannot write a single. Every quote comes straight from John, because you just can't. I could try to get my head into John's mind space sometimes, but it's just you're never exactly where he is. So I just don't even try. I let and we want it to come from John. We want John's input, and he, as our CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, he has such connectivity to every product, every decision we do, that it's fantastic that he's so involved and ready to rock. So he wants to be hands on everything.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting topic to kind of touch on, because we're used to seeing, because I know like Diana from Altadis, like she says, like Jonathan Drew is one of the coolest people in the industry. Love Drew Estate, risk taking. That's Jonathan Drew, but we don't get to see him like you do, like in the office setting, like working, like.
And it's funny,
like how he is in that.
It's funny. I'll tell you that right now. It's funny because I didn't know how he was going to be until my first couple meetings. Because I thought, okay, maybe it's he's going to be a little bit different, a little bit more toned down. No, John is John. He is authentic. How he is when you're out there at working, at an event, you meet him at an event. That's how he is. But what he is a visionary. And the reason I say that is when we're sitting here, we're talking about products, or we're talking about some of our marketing plans, and then he's going to come at you sideways, and you're going to look at it, and first you're going to be like, "Wait, what are you talking about? This makes no sense." And then he's going to sit down and he'll explain it to you in the John way, and then you're like, "I've never thought of approaching it from this angle, but it's brilliant." And that's one of the really cool things to be, that John leading us, and that's why Drew Estate has remained dedicated to our culture. Is because you have John there, and he's sitting there, and he's telling you, he's like, "Just take a step back. Your plan's great, but what if you approached it like this? it's not exactly how you saw it the first time. And then you look at it and you're like, wow, that's a really unique angle. And we are so lucky that to have him, and Drew State would not be anywhere, obviously, without Jonathan.
Like I said, he's definitely, I know Jack says zigzag zigular.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. That is a John quote, but he takes it to the zigzag zigular, man.
He's definitely challenged. He challenges everybody, which I think is good. I mean,
exactly.
I like the non-traditional approach, because you look at Drew State on the outside, just design-wise and aesthetic, and what you all do. I mean, you're truly out of the box.
We don't want to ever. We're not looking to ever just copy someone. We'll never come that way. We remain true to our roots. We always, whether it's our cigars, our swag, our ads, or anything we do, our videos, we're not just saying, okay, I want to copy another company. No, I want to just build it I want to build the best thing that we can that's true to us. And that's how we've always stayed.
So, I mean, you came into the company probably just tasked with, like I said, running the social media, doing the press releases. How did, I know at one point Sam left.
Right.
And then you kind of filled, not his shoes, but you kind of took on your own new kind of position within the company, it seems like.
Well, the position's grown. And, what we've had at Drew Estate is, at one point, I was running 60 different things where I was doing, anywhere from running digital design of our website, the Drew Diplomat app, keeping that up to date, making sure that the press release is going out, all of our social media is running, shooting content. I was doing a lot of all these things. Oh, on top of that, let's add things like, working customer service to help out with our end consumers and everything else. And, it got to a point, guys were like, wait, you do all these things? And I'm like, yes, because they have to get done. And we had a lot to do. So we ended up, I got a position as digital marketing manager and running a lot now with a team to build a team out under me. We've recently added Jack Heyer, who's been killing it for us, running kind of what I used to do in the social spectrum. But now we're looking to innovate and even grow our digital properties, build out more strategy, more time to really amplify everything we're trying to do. And I think we're getting it to an entirely new level.
Yeah, because I was thinking about you all this morning when I was thinking about this interview, and I was saying to myself, like Drew State position-wise, I mean, you all were more prepared for everything that's happening right now than probably a lot of other companies, because like I said, you all last year were doing the podcasting and the videos, and you all ramped that up before there was any real reason, I guess, to
here's the thing, there is a reason. I mean, we always did it back then is because our audiences live in different channels. I mean, we're in a digital world, and I mean, if you're not thinking about doing a podcast, or you're not working on video content or talking about Facebook Lives or anything like that, it's just like, well, why not? I get it. Some teams are smaller, and some people, you don't have the time to do it because obviously we're all running businesses. But look where your consumers really are. Look where they're talking and engaging with you, and then talk to them there, because that's where it's insanely important, is to be able to talk to your consumer, to be relatable to them.
Definitely. Like, I always think about that even for the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
We're working in it's almost like cigars. It's a very traditional industry where it's, paper,
right?
Paper and advertisements. How can you continue to evolve? And some of the discussions that we have on our end is doing things like this, where it's more interactive. It's delivering the news. Thinking about even next week, like adding in even more video, where we're, instead of just typing out the news and giving it to you, where we're jumping on a Facebook Live real quick and just telling you what the news items are. And hey, if you want to go to our website from there,
right?
Then that's a great thing. But people are on here interacting, and that's, if you're not doing it and delivering the content to them like that, then. And
that's the thing. It's using this content in really important ways. Not just doing something to do it. You see a lot of the Facebook Lives or things just pop up quickly, and they kind of go into it without a plan. But if you take a little bit of time and say, let's have a plan for this. Let's get our people excited. Give them what they really want. I think that was one of the big things, and I don't know if we want to talk about it now or a little later, is when we had that success of Freestyle Live that we just did, the virtual HERF with Jonathan, Willie, Pedro, and Juan. We went into that with a full plan of how can we get our customers excited in a time when everybody's really stressed out. We all bond, and even when back, pre-COVID-19, the cigar is meant as a moment of relaxation from your stressful day. And these are stressful times right now, so you see a lot of guys smoking, but let's all get together and maybe for an hour or two forget about what's going on in the world, and let's just enjoy ourselves. Let's pretend we're at a cigar event. Let's have that moment. And I think that's where we were really successful.
Yeah, and let's talk about the virtual HERF. So I saw the press release come out, and I was like, that's cool. And, we posted it on Cigars and Leisure, which is our consumer site. And people were really excited about basically being able to interact in that way. And it was funny because I said, why haven't more companies done this to begin with? Because the cigar industry is a lot event oriented, but
right.
You have to go somewhere. Oftentimes you have to go somewhere a long way, and then you have to pay for the transportation, the flights, the hotel, there's a lot of stuff to do an event. And I know it was a lot of work to put together the virtual HERF, but I'm just curious to see, to hear from you, how did that go? What was the process like, and what was the feedback that you got from it?
Oh, it was tremendous. The amount of work that our team just put into it was insane. And the reason why is, again, we went into it with a plan. And what did we want to do? We wanted to kind of recreate that event atmosphere that we have, our in-store events. So what we had was, we didn't just, okay, let's just go and have Jonathan up there and ask a few questions. Let's talk about, hey, what's coming out? What's new? So what we did was, we had all of our, our TMs, our territory managers, the reps, for guys, who may not know, is we had them do a Facebook Live prior to the event, just right prior, to help promote and to launch. And I'll show you real quick. So we do these toolkits at events, and what we did was, we had them launch out, hey, this is going to be the new swag, some of the new stuff that you're going to be getting at a Drew Estate event. Because why? Because we want people to get excited. We want people to think, hey, this is coming, boom. You're going to have a nice item, or you're going to get a bunch of nice stuff when you come back to a Drew Estate event. We're not hosting them right now because, unfortunately, stores are closed, and we want to protect both our staff and everyone else. But we wanted to do this in an exciting way. So we ended up saying, okay, let's have our TMs unveil it, but prior to the virtual HERF, and then let's give them away during. It's unreleased, it's new, it's exciting, it's something that people are going to want, and they love they love our events, they love our swag. So let's give it to the guys. Let's give them that moment, that excitement back that they're not having right now. So for us, we had thousands of people tuning in. Hundreds were logged in and watching at any given moment, which is bigger than pretty much everything out there right now in the cigar industry. And it was an exciting moment to really have John talking about his Pappy collection, Willie about what he's cooking at home, and Pedro and Juan talking about what's going on in Nicaragua right now. And we think it was tremendously successful, and it's something that we're going to be building upon.
And I thought it was definitely fun because, like I said, you got to, not at all Drew Estate events, you don't get everybody there at one time. Sometimes it's one or two people, but this one, it was like all the main VIP people of Drew Estate, and you got the real, when Jonathan was changing out the hats, every scene change, it was like an old 80s, TV show.
That was not scripted at all. That was, John's just like, yo, what'd you think about my hat game after? I'm like, that is the funniest thing I've ever seen. And
exactly.
And we're sitting there on the back end just laughing about it.
But that was like a great Jonathan Drew moment, and it was a great Drew Estate moment, because you get that's who you all are. So I thought that the event was like a great way to, like I said, to sit and come from your own home. You don't have to worry about traveling.
Right.
You don't have to worry about germs. You don't have to worry about coronavirus, hopefully.
Right.
And you got to sit there for 2 hours and really kind of get to learn more about the different people in the company, the different brands, what was going on. Like I said, the new release. I just thought it was fun to watch, and hopefully, I know people were wondering if there going to be more of that in the future.
There's going to be some more things that are coming. We have some different ones coming out, which we're going to be announcing in the next couple of days. What we want to do is always learn from what we did, and I think first of all we saw that was a tremendous success, and so there's going to be more coming out, and there's going to be a couple of different styles of things, so that it's going to be more interactive, and again, helping people just take their mind off it. You know, maybe we're going to do something where we're going to have a cigar and a drink and just relax for a happy hour. We're going to have fun together. And it's just going to be much more laid back. And just, guys, we're all stressed out. We're all dealing with this in our own ways. It's affecting friends, family members. And you know what? Let's just try and just unite over our love of a good cigar.
Definitely. And yeah, and people do want to know, like, what are you smoking today?
So I'm smoking today the Year of the Rat, the Liga Privada Unico Year of the Rat. Hold on, let me get that right there. So this is going to be released. It was originally going to be released in April, and at in-store events. So every store that's going to host a Drew Estate event. Obviously, right now we're not doing any events because of COVID, but as soon as our team gets back on the road, every store that hosts a Drew Diplomat event is going to get 4 boxes of Year of the Rat available for purchase for our consumers. And along with that, it's also going to be the event cigar, the Drew Diplomat cigar. So if you show that you're on the Drew Diplomat app when you go into an event and you make a minimum purchase, then you will get a Year of the Rat for free. And it's a really, I mean, this cigar, the broadleaf, it's just so good.
So I'm just curious to get your thoughts on, you know, how does because I talked about this with Michael Herklotz yesterday and different people throughout since I've been doing this for the last week and a half, but how do you think our industry kind of evolves from here? Because it seems like it's going to take a little while for us to get back to any sense of normalcy, but even then it won't be like the same normal as the past.
Oh no, and I what I hope for, and I truly hope for, is that this actually changes the industry for the better. I know we're all stressed and struggling right now. A lot of shop owners are closed and trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my employees, how am I going to pay my bills. But where I think this is going to change things for the better is getting people to understand the importance of the digital technology that they have. How many shops right now wish they put a little bit more time and talked about improving their email list so that they can reach out to all their customers and say, hey, I'm doing curbside. Hey, text me for delivery. You know, how many wish they had their their customers' phone numbers? You know, a lot of this information that they're going to want to be able to contact and talk to these people. Or maybe I should do a Facebook Live. Even if we are fully closed, talk to them about, hey, what's going on, what we're trying to do when we come back, stay connected. Because if you build that connection with your customer, now they're going to stick with you. Now they're going to be loyal to you. And that's going to be really the important thing that I think everyone's going to learn from this is that, hey, that the technology matters, that my customers' data matters, that I can't just sit there and just have the store hours posted on a Facebook page and maybe a website that just lists with the directions to my website, and that's about it. Maybe you want to have what your store inventory is so that people know what brands you carry. Hey, or that you want to send out an email just touching base with the guys. Hope everybody's okay. Let's figure it out. I think that's going to be one of the really big things is that you're going to see a lot more innovation that's going to stick around for a lot of these people. And I think it's going to do it. My hope is that at the end of the day, this is going to make the brick and mortar stores more connected, more empowered. And I think they're going to walk away from this and say, wow, I learned a lot because I had to.
Yeah, because I was, thinking about it today because I got, like I said, several press releases where I see manufacturers pushing the digital stuff. And I was like, I think that's great. But I think the problem is that some of the retailers are kind of behind the curve. Like you go to, it'll be like, it'll be the same equivalent, I think, of Target not having an online store or Amazon just being whatever it is, a lot of these retailers don't have, that, like you said, they don't have like an inventory list. And this is before COVID-19. Like you actually have to go in there and see. And it'd be nice if even if it's just like an inventory list, like this is what we currently have. So you don't have to go on a wild goose chase or call or whatever, just to get what you want.
Right, and that's the thing. It's or just hey, right now, we got some swag in from Drew Estate. Let's do a buy 4-in-1 here. I'm going to do a Facebook Live. I want to show you what we have. Here are the boxes that we have. Oh, hey John, I know you like the Underground Shade. Are you running low? Let's go buy some. Here, we'll take care of you. And then, well, by the way, we're going to throw in a cutter or something like that. Just as a thank you. And that's kind of the things that we're doing now to help. And it's going to be with a combination of our team and our retailers to learn. Hey, here's some strategy. Here's some tips that we can help you through it. I gave a lot of my TMs a tutorial on Facebook Live, walking them through. Here's how you post one. Here's how you do one. You guys should just do it to interact with your guys. And what you're also seeing some of the retailers and is going through training right now is talking with, hey, let's give my guys some education. Let them talk with the TM, learn about what our programs are, what our cigars are, what our swag is. Give them the education that they need in a time that maybe it's hard when they come into a shop and they're stocking shelves. But now we have a moment. Let's learn from it. Let's use this as keep everybody going and focused.
Yeah, and I definitely think sometimes the fear is just it has to be perfect in order for you to do it. I know for me sometimes that's the case. I know for other people that's why they don't jump into Facebook Lives or whatever. Or, oh, I need this, or or sometimes if you work for a company, for example, they'll tell you these 5 things need to happen, and then you can do it. And you're like, I just need to do it. I just need to get out there and do it. I don't have time to wait to go on this giant quest of complete this list of things that don't have anything to do with me actually doing it.
No, that's 100%. And the thing is, what you have to do is you make sure is that you're learning from it. That's the key thing. That your first one's not going to be good. Your second one's not going to be great. But if it's a little bit better, by the 4th or 5th, hey, you got a groove going. It's the same thing when we started, the podcast. It's the same thing when we started doing video production. I remember once we did a video. We went in. Had this whole idea. We were going to do a tobacco especial paired lunch, and we were going to film it like Chef's Table. We had no idea what we were doing. The right equipment that we had, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, other than the lunch because the food was spectacular. But we realized we're like, oh, we didn't come in as prepared as we should have, and we said was, okay, let's take a step back and learn from it. What did we do wrong? Let's top to bottom evaluate, and then work it again, and then try to do different things. And our video production game has stepped up tremendously in the past few years. We've all learned, and it's also one of the same with the retailers. Start here, find your flow, find what you want to do. Where do you have successes? Where are you getting orders from? Is it showing the swag, or is it showing the cigars? Is it talking to the guys one-on-one, or doing a Facebook Live? That's where you have to always be learning and willing to adapt. This is a time that calls for nimbleness. And that's where both manufacturers, both the shops, everyone has to learn that right now.
In terms of where you're putting your focus right now, if you had to choose that one digital platform or one app or whatever for people that they should focus on to really build out to go from there, what would it be?
So that's an interesting question, because up to this point, Instagram is the lead horse. I think that's where a lot of people are. It's where you see most engagement. However, what I think at this moment is you're seeing the return to Facebook, because people have more time. They're more willing to tune into a video instead of as they scroll through their feed and just watch it for a couple seconds and then move on. You're seeing that return, and it's actually been a very strong platform for us. And I think that's where look at all the virtual hearse that people are linking through Facebook right now. Between the tools that they have, or going live on Zoom and then just putting it up on Facebook, that's kind of where I think the return is at this moment.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I know when you're in marketing, like you and I kind of are, you always look at where you're going to get that engagement. So that is always the case. Like Facebook and Instagram is nice because, like you said, everybody's on Instagram. They post pictures, but they spend so much, a fraction of the time. It's not like, it's really not like where they're going to sit here and look at long form video. But Facebook is completely different.
Exactly. Instagram is built for the instantaneous engagement. They want to they want to flip through, occasionally they'll comment, they'll dive in. But back on Facebook now is they're having that socializing moment, the moment where they agree with one another, that they can, let's just talk and get back to that, because right now we're all trapped in our houses. We can't go and have a conversation with our coworkers like we used to. But let's just all sit back and just talk. And I think that's where you're seeing a lot of the lead horse. And what's funny is because up to this point, Facebook's been kind of, is very anti-cigar, anti-tobacco, obviously. And we've had some limitations there, especially in terms of pages. But again, you're seeing the groups active. You have to be talking to, the cats and the cartel and the fat ash groups, everybody, distinguished ruffians, talking to these guys, because that's where the conversations are living right now.
In terms of because this sounds like this is Drew Estate basically. This is about innovation and growing and taking little things and kind of making it grow into something big. So, in terms of like, what have you learned about business? I would say from working with Jonathan Drew.
Oh, I mean, the thing I've learned, and it's starting off, is you have to make the right choice, and sometimes you're gonna have to make the hard choice, and you have to make what's right for both the company and the consumer. Don't take the cheap, easy way out. Don't just do something because it's easy and it's going to make you some money in the short term. You have to think about the long-term play here, the long-term gains. When you do something, make it programmatic. If you're going to build if you're going to do what we did with Freestyle Live, don't just do it once because, we're in the middle of COVID-19. How can we evolve it? How can we use this now to make it last for 5-10 years? Think about it long term. We think that way about our cigars. We think that way with our products. We don't want to just make a cigar because it's easy, even if we don't think it tastes right. We make it because it's a good cigar. It is a good product. And that's one of the things that we've always done and we continue to do. And it's the right way to do business.
Speaking of cigars, I know Drew Estate has a humongous portfolio of cigars, but is there one that you kind of gravitate towards the most?
So, for me, and I'm not shy about saying it, there's one cigar. It's the Norteño Edición Limitada, Herrera Esteli Norteño Edición Limitada. It's a Churchill. Willie originally came out in 2015. So this was prior to me joining Drew Estate. As a consumer, I bought about 8 boxes of that cigar.
Wow.
It wasn't. It was a $15 stick, so it's not cheap by any means. So I'm sitting there and I was in love with that blend. I love the box press, and in that Vitola particularly, it is my favorite. So I always keep that well stocked. But it's the Norteño. I smoke that all day long. I love the San Andreas Maduro wrapper, that toothy box press mouthfeel, the flavors, the complexity of the tobacco, how it changes, it hits my palate. That just, for me, that's an everyday smoke.
Just the other day, and you saw the picture when you did the smoke one, show one, whatever the challenge was.
C1, talking about the C1 smoke one challenge that I set out there.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was a cool challenge. I know I passed it on to the Cigars and Leisure crowd, and I did the Cuba Arte. It was my first time having it, and I was like, I'm not brand loyal, and there's so many cigars out there, especially working with the media. You have to try everything at some point. Yeah. So, I'm definitely having my fun. I was telling Michael Herklotz this yesterday, but I organized my cigar collection.
Oh my God! So I was just telling people that that was my plan. So I have about 3,000 cigars.
Exactly.
that I haven't looked at in 2 years because I smoke at the office. We have cigars all over. So I just have, and then when I go to a shop, I'm buying from them. So I haven't had a chance to really go through my collection in a long time. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to spend a weekend and just go through it and just try to organize. I know some of the things I have in there, some of my good stuff or, older stuff, but I really have no clue anymore. And that's one thing I always love is smoking new cigars or even old cigars that I haven't had in forever. I don't just smoke Drew Estate, I smoke everything because I'm a tobacco geek at heart.
Exactly. And that's what I wanted to see, like you said, because I remember getting these cigars, but then they just go into a collection. They go into this container, right. This container, this Ziploc bag, this Ziploc bag. So I just spread everything out on Sunday. Yep. And I'll tell you, it was a workout. I felt like I had just ran a marathon the next day because it was all just bending over and put this here and put this here. So my Drew Estate stack though was the biggest. It was everything, like, it was like, it took up like half of my space, my little workspace that I have in my apartment. So I was like, oh gosh. So it took up a container by itself. So,
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, that's probably also because we've sent a few things over the years, so we'd like to make sure we keep you guys well stocked. But yeah, no, I mean, thank you. And that's the same thing where I'm just going to probably do it. My wife's going to look at me like, why aren't you helping with the baby? And I'm going to be like, I'm not busy. Just don't come in here for a while. It's going to get messy.
so, I mean, we have 15 minutes left, so
Yeah.
that's a lot of time, really. But what else is going on at Drew Estate? I mean, what can people, what should people be on the lookout for? What should they expect?
So, I mean, right now, you're going to be always staying tuned on some what we have coming out digitally in terms of we're going to have some more shows. We're going to have a lot more engagement. Obviously, you got Willie's out there now. You got Pedro rocking a lot of different things. And they're going to be doing – you got some pretty cool things coming. But the other big thing that I want you guys to always think through is Drew Diplomat app. Now, we've been around since 2016. We're the sole remaining cigar manufacturer. And what you're going to get on the app, one second here, is really cool things like, hold on, let's see if I can do this right. Juggle. So this right here is a Benchmade Fume cigar cutter. They came out with that. It's around like $108. We have it branded Norteño and T52. We're giving away things like that every week on Drew Diplomat. How do you get points to enter these things? You smoke your cigars. What are we doing right now? We're sitting back smoking cigars. So check it in on the app. Make sure you download it. It's in the iOS App Store. It's on the Google Play Store. And we have some really cool things. We have Yeti coolers in there. This is stuff that everyone's that they want. And we really want to see is people downloading the app, interacting. It's a community where we all sit and smoke and we talk to each other. And that's one of the big things that everyone, we have some more Drew Diplomat news coming a little bit later in the year. But that's going to be some really cool things coming. So make sure you guys are connected. That's the first place you're going to see the news. We might be doing some private chat rooms in there with Jonathan for just Drew Diplomats. So that's going to be one of those things that you guys want to really tune into and kind of see what's coming. And, Drew Estate's still rocking. With the business, for us, it's relatively, we're still shipping cigars out to our stores. The reps are still talking and taking orders. So we still have new products coming. We have actually a lot that's going to be coming out in a little while. So you're going to see some really cool things coming, let alone just, things like Year of the Rat.
It's called the Drew Estate Drew Diplomat app.
Drew Diplomat app. It's Drew Diplomat on iOS App Store and Google Play Store.
And somebody wants you to tell us about how you come up with your magazine ads, because they said they're really creative and different from any other company. So how do you all come up with some of those concepts?
Well, that goes to props to our Joey Reichenbach, Joey Drew, our global creative director. He is a madman. He has the Mezcal collection that is far superior than most liquor stores and many bars. But he's a genius, and he's been around since pretty much the beginnings of Drew Estate, well over 20 years now with us, and creating the ads. He lives and breathes the brands just like we do. And so everything comes from his mind, where he'll just come up with something and you just go, holy shit. And he does everything of all of our packaging, all of our ads. So every box you see was designed by Joey. Every ad comes out of Joey's desk. Every logo, everything. And that's, he's a real genius. And again, we don't want to just put an ad out there. You can put a box of cigars on there, but it's about the copy. It's about the story that we're telling that really connects with people. And that's what makes our products come alive. So, that's all Joey on that one.
So I definitely agree. I remember coming to Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival back in 2015, and Drew Estate was a big sponsor back then. Mm-hmm. And, everybody was walking around in these shirts that had probably Joey's design on it. And I remember the first thing people were asking, like, where can I get that shirt? And I was like, oh, it's only for VIP people or people who are working. So it was a big, the artwork from Drew Estate is always one of those interesting things in the subculture, as you all call it.
Right. And that's right. And that's the big thing. It's not just, the art that we do, that Joey creates, or, the packaging, everything else. It's our art team, Subculture Studios, down in Nicaragua. It's the unique pieces that they come up with, because we employ about 50 artists and they are constantly working, whether it's items that we're putting in stores that they redeem through the Subculture Studios rewards program, or consumer items that we give out through our raffles or through the Drew Diplomat app. It's unique pieces. Or when guys go on safari, that's always one of the most exciting parts. Everyone's like, well, wait, what do I get to bring to safari? I want to get my travel humidor painted, because it's a moment for them where they get this unique piece. It's one of a kind. Not every, it's a brushstroke. It's not just something that, hey, we just, we printed 50,000 of them out off a machine, it's something that's hand done. And that's part of who we are. It's why, the graffiti culture is part of who we are. It's from the origins back to New York. Like when you were saying Smoking Cuba Art Day last year, that's why we grabbed 5 Brooklyn artists to do that project. It's that authenticity that's really a part of it.
Yeah, and Diana says we should do an interview with Joey.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't done anything like artsy, in the magazine in a long time. I always think that's fun. Or even for Cigars and Leisure. I know we're working on a potential big project between us and the magazine, so I'm sure we can figure out more than one place to put some of these stories. But,
oh, yeah.
It's always fun to kind of collaborate and tell these different stories, because the art people don't really get hardly much attention at all in the industry,
right? And I mean, how much? Yeah, how if we really think about it in terms of like packaging, just let alone this ads, but packaging alone, how many? There's so few packaging awards that go in there. Like certain boxes, you just go in, you're stunned, you're taken aback. What sells a cigar? I mean, a cigar is good on its own. Packaging also that's what draws someone in. That's what captures somebody to a cigar at first. They're not going to know what it tastes like when they see it on the shelf, but they're going to see it when the band pops off or when the box is really attractive. And that's a huge part that we don't talk about as much. I mean, we all say we appreciate good packaging, but the recognition that goes into the work behind it is, we don't do that as often.
No, we don't. And I think, because I know Monday I'm going to be speaking to Humberto Arias, from Cigar Package Design. So he's going to be my deep cuts guest, and it's going to be all about art and design and all that stuff.
And
but, more stories like that.
Exactly, more out there.
Very interesting.
Right, we get more of that out there, and that's awesome that you're interviewing. I can't wait to watch that, because getting to know these guys a lot more, it's getting to know their stories. What inspires them when they're creating a design? How do they approach it? That's a really cool thing that, again, not that many people know about. These cigars aren't just slapped in a wooden box and just call it a day. There's a lot of thought and time that goes into creating something that works. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, because I was, speaking to Herb Klotz, and we were talking, about just, like you said, the design, because he just released a new cigar, Timeless TAA 2020, and it's not the usual Nat Sherman.
He got a little crap from a couple of the media guys. We were on one of their shows the other night, and they got a little crap from it. But I appreciate Mike's for his reaction with that. It was fun. That was good.
But like you said, it's always the packaging and the branding that gets your attention in a big humidor. When you have 100 different cigars and different facings,
right?
I mean, what are you going to gravitate towards? You're not going to go and say, "Oh wow, that was like a nice." Unfortunately, you're not going to go and say, "That was a nice crafted cigar. Look at the veins and stuff." You're going to go like, "Wow, that packaging really stands out."
Right. It's the packaging. It's, hey, you have your trust brands or what people or the shop guy is going to recommend to you. That's where most of the sales are. But a guy's going to walk in the humidor 5-10 minutes, and he's not going to know. He might be able to spot the wrapper. Some of the cigar geeks will. But he's going to look at the packaging. He's going to look at what story you're telling through that packaging, and then say, you know what? I'm going to trust this. I'm going to trust this. I'm going to have faith in this and see if it actually works. So packaging is a big part of what sells cigars.
Right. And we have a few minutes left. Was there anything else that we didn't talk about that we need to touch on?
For right now, let's see. We have a lot of things that are always still going on. Obviously, we have barn smokers that we're going to be kicking off. Obviously, we delayed Florida, but we postponed that to November now. But we have, all of our other barn smokers, we're ready to rock, and that's going to be a huge thing coming up for Drew Estate. If you guys haven't been to a barn smoker, you haven't been to Kentucky where they actually do the fire curing of the tobacco. That's something that you need to be a part of. You need to see it where they're actually shoveling the coals in in the barns in Kentucky, and it's breathtaking. That's probably my favorite barn smoker. I mean, even there's one in Pennsylvania, and there's a lot of them, but Kentucky is just such a unique hands-on experience, or Louisiana, where they do the barrel fermentation for the Pappy barrel fermented cigar. I mean, these actually get you the American tobacco experience, where you're actually sitting there talking to our consumers and talking to the farmers and realizing that like they go through the same struggles that everyone goes through, and being able to learn that and being able to see it firsthand, the hard work that goes into making your cigar or getting the tobacco ready, especially in the US. It's an amazing experience. So I recommend, if anybody hasn't had a chance to go on one, you know, there's still tickets available to, I think, 3 out of the barn smokers. I'm pretty sure Connecticut's sold out. But I think Florida now is still sold out. But the Kentucky, Louisiana, and Pennsylvania, if you haven't had a chance to go, I definitely say you do so. And you can get your tickets at barnsmoker.com.
And like you said, download the Drew Diplomat app.
Always.
So we definitely want to get people on that.
Stay on the, yeah, exactly. It's the latest news. It's the latest cigars. You have a chance to win really amazing items, both hand-painted Subculture Studio or unique that you're never going to see anywhere else. And then not only that, but it's just a chance to engage the community and reward yourself for lighting up a cigar, taking that few minutes. And we have some special stuff coming for our Drew Diplomats that's going to keep coming. So make sure you download it today.
And I definitely hope, you know, you find time to get some downtime. I know you have a new baby that you need to spend time with. And
like I was telling you the other day, Animal Crossing has been a blessing at this moment.
I know. I've been like obsessed with it every night. Like that's like my goal to get through work. I'm like, gotta get through to pay off this house loan on Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Tom Nook, he's not forgiving right now of COVID-19. He wants his bells. But I just love that game because it's just an hour to relax. You're just like, you know what, I'm gonna go fishing. I'm gonna go, you know, pull some weeds and do little chores and stuff. But again, it takes you away for a couple of minutes, but it's been fun. So it was funny when you were posting about it. And I saw your Cigars and Leisure article, which I thought was great about the switch pairings. And
because I wanted to do something different. And I was like, you know, especially nowadays, I mean, we're stuck at home. It's like, you know, what are you going to be pairing it with? The stuff that you have at home. And I was like, oh, a Switch. I was like, games.
Right. And that's the thing. A lot of people are picking it up right now. You know what? Hey, it keeps you inside. Enjoy it. So you're not going, it's a little different. You're not going crazy. So what are you going to do? You're either going to have your cigar and you're going to have a little bit of booze, or maybe, you know what? I'll have a cigar on my Switch because I can sit out back in the patio and play it. So I've been doing that quite a bit.
Well, like I said, thank you so much for taking the time to I know you are one of the busiest people in the industry. Drew State keeps you busy.
I have a meeting in 3 minutes. So
So I definitely appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. And definitely look forward to our next encounter whenever that is these days.
I mean, but the thing is, stay in contact. Hey, we're always going to be doing stuff virtually. I'm always available, guys. Anybody wants to ever chat, we're always, Drew State's always open. We're here to talk, and we're here to hang out with you guys. So enjoy, download the Drew Diplomat, and just enjoy a cigar, no matter what it is. Take a minute, relax, enjoy a stick.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, Antoine. I really appreciate it.
No problem.